Imagine for a moment that within you dwells a divine surgeon, a perfect, infinite, silent intelligence that knows every cell, every organ, every fiber of your being. It does not use human scalpels or anesthesia, but rather the light of spirit and the precision of infinite love. This text, Let Christ Operate on You, Vertical Bar Metaphysical Surgery for Divine Health, inspired by the eternal teachings of Emmet Fox, will guide you to a profound revelation. True healing does not come from the outside, but from conscious union with the presence of Christ within. Prepare for a sacred journey toward total health, where the body transforms, the mind is purified, and the soul remembers its original perfection. Open your heart, quiet your mind, and allow the Christ within to perform his miraculous surgery upon you. Because when you surrender your faith to divine wisdom, life itself becomes an act of perfect healing. Health, the subconscious as the supreme healer. Health, that blessing so often ignored until the day it seems to be missing, is the faithful reflection of a deeper principle. The mind is the source and the workshop of the physical body. True healing does not come from external forces or circumstantial remedies, but from the infinite power that resides within every human being. This power is the subconscious mind, the great invisible surgeon, capable of performing marvels where external science admits its impotence. For centuries, humanity has witnessed astonishing phenomena: tumors disappearing without a scalpel, wounds closing in seconds, mutilated tissues regenerating as if time itself had reversed. Documented cases of psychic surgery in the Philippines, such as those performed by Jose Rizal or Tony Atwa, and in Brazil with figures like João de Deus, have baffled doctors and scientists alike. These are not miracles in a mystical or capricious sense, but practical demonstrations of a precise mental law. Matter, far from being an impenetrable wall, is energy condensed, vibration organized by mental patterns. In the presence of operative and conscious faith, matter obeys. It reorganizes, transforms, and adapts. Hospital and clinic records contain verifiable testimonies, radiographs showing tumors vanishing, forensic analyses of tissues removed without physical intervention. Patients once considered lost walking and smiling, much to the astonishment of experts. Medicine, compelled by evidence, is beginning to acknowledge the existence of a higher mechanism, an active intelligence within the deep mind capable of directing the chemistry, form, and function of every cell. Yet it is essential to distinguish between blind faith and scientific faith. Blind faith waits, doubts, resigns, or surrenders to chance. Scientific faith, on the other hand, rests on knowledge of the subconscious law, on the conviction that thought is force and the mind is the supreme shaper. When a person learns to properly program their subconscious, they unleash a perfect, silent, precise surgery within themselves. Every word, every image, every feeling becomes the scalpel and needle with which life restores its original harmony. This is the purpose of this book, to reveal and teach the art of healing from within, accessing the infinite power of the mind so that health ceases to be a miracle and becomes the natural norm for any being who knows and practices the law. Psychic surgery, operations without a scalpel, based on the teachings of Emmet Fox. We have noticed that more than 80% of visitors to our channel are not yet subscribed. You can support this project by pressing the subscribe button and liking the video. Thank you for inspiring us to keep creating more and better content for you. Are you ready to transform your life? Chapter 1. Matter as the obedient servant of the mind. The essential truth proclaimed by sages and prophets since the dawn of human consciousness is this: matter, however formidable and solid it may seem to our senses, is nothing more than the submissive servant of the mind. This is the foundation, the root of all metaphysical work. If you do not understand this, your mental edifice will lack a foundation, and all effort will be in vain. If you do understand it, even imperfectly, you will see the gates of miracles open before you, the threshold of conscious mastery over flesh, health, and circumstances. What is matter? Why does this chair support your body, and why does this hand obey your will? The world, as perceived by our senses, seems made of solids, liquids, and gases, of bodies that resist and others that yield, of forms that appear stable and others that flow. But revelation and reason enlightened by truth invite us to look beyond, to penetrate the veil of appearances. Today, even the most learned physicists who study matter with prodigious instruments confess humbly that matter is not what it seems. They tell us in words that sound more like a sermon than a laboratory report that the human body, a perfect and mysterious machine, is composed 99.9% of empty space. That atoms, tiny dancing galaxies, vibrate in a void where substance disappears like smoke before the wind. And what remains, what our senses perceive as solid, is merely vibrating energy, organized by laws that the mind can know, invoke, and transform. At this point, science finally bows to eternal wisdom. Matter obeys thought. All is mind. The universe is mental. Thus reads the ancient Hermetic principle, and thus Christ proclaims, "Whatever you ask in prayer, believe that you have received it and it will come to you." Is this not the supreme affirmation of the primacy of spirit over form? He who masters his thoughts masters his body and his world. He who enslaves himself to appearances lives as a servant to circumstances. It is not enough to repeat this truth. It must be experienced. Take, for example, a simple glass of water. Is it only hydrogen and oxygen, or is it rather mental substance manifested according to the idea impressed upon it by the mind? Some years ago, Dr. Masaru Emoto, a Japanese researcher, conducted an experiment that astonished skeptics and confirmed the faith of the humble. He exposed water to words, thoughts, and music, then froze its crystals to observe them under a microscope. Water exposed to words of blessing, to love, formed perfectly beautiful, awe-inspiring crystals. Water exposed to hatred or anger displayed chaotic, broken forms. What does this teach us? That matter, even in its most elemental forms, obediently responds to thought. The human body, far subtler than water, is shaped every day by the currents of conscious and unconscious thought. Anyone who wishes to heal must begin here. Matter is malleable, and the mind is the potter. It is not genes, accidents, or the decrees of the flesh that govern the body, but thought, especially thought sustained by faith, feeling, and expectation. This is the law. Any other belief is ignorance, superstition, or fear. Those who doubt this may observe the phenomenon of the placebo. Doctors worldwide have witnessed cases in which a substance with no curative power, a sugar pill, a drop of water, produced miraculous recoveries in people who believed they were receiving a powerful medicine. Where did the miracle operate? In the mental substance. It was belief, feeling, and conviction that moved matter, reorganized cells, calmed pain, and regenerated tissue. What you believe and feel persistently will ultimately imprint itself on your flesh. This is not to deny the existence of matter, but to understand its true nature. It is energy, vibration, appearance sustained by an idea. As Trobar, the great English metaphysician, said, "Mental substance is the raw material of all that is visible, and thought is the shaper." If you wish to change form, do not struggle with matter, change thought. If you want to heal your body, begin by healing your mind. If you wish to transform your circumstances, examine the pattern of your deep ideas, for they imprint the invisible matrix of your days. Do you say this is difficult, that your body aches and your trials are real? Certainly, pain is experience, but it is not absolute truth. Pain, illness, limitation, they are echoes of past thoughts and beliefs, footprints in the sand. You can erase these footprints with new thoughts, sustained with persistence and faith. Is this not what the Master taught when he said, "According to your faith, it has been done"? The external world is the mirror of the mind. The body is the visible reflection of ideas hidden in the subconscious. Want to test it? Try a simple exercise. Take a small object, a coin, a stone, or a piece of wax. Sit quietly, breathe deeply, and close your eyes. Visualize the object with absolute clarity. Imagine making it lighter or heavier, changing its color or temperature. Feel, effortlessly, that the object responds to your will. Practice for a few minutes daily. In time, you will notice subtle changes. Matter will begin to show docility, obedience to the trained mind. And when this happens in small things, it will happen in greater ones. Just as water responds to blessing, so your body will respond to your decrees of health and harmony. Does this seem impossible? Recall the cases of stigmatics, men and women so absorbed in the image of Christ's suffering that their flesh began to manifest the wounds of the Savior. It was not a miracle in the ordinary sense, but mental law, acting with precision. Dominant thought was imprinted on the body. If the mind can create wounds, why could it not create health? If fear can produce illness, cannot faith produce well-being? Every cell, every organ, every fiber of your being listens to the voice of your mind. Speak with authority and it will obey. Modern science, ancient wisdom, the testimonies of healers and healed patients all converge on a single truth. Matter is the obedient servant of the mind. Do not enslave yourself to appearances, nor be terrorized by fear or custom. Claim your inheritance. What is mastery of your world? God, who is principle and love, has given you the capacity to think, to feel, to imagine. Use that power with reverence and determination. Whenever doubt arises, remember the water transformed by thought, the flesh healed by faith, life obedient to dominant ideas. Make your thoughts instruments of blessing. Bless your body every day. Speak to it with love, authority, and faith. Say, "You are the expression of divine intelligence. You are healthy, strong, perfect." Do it persistently, and matter will obey. Faith is not blind hope, it is knowledge of the law. It is certainty that your word, sustained by feeling and expectation, is the order that life must fulfill. Today, now, be aware of this power. You are not a slave to matter, you are its master. All form responds to thought. Sow in your mind the idea of health, harmony, and abundant life, and the harvest will be inevitable. Nothing can resist a mind illuminated by truth. May this understanding liberate you, elevate you, and guide you in the daily practice of mental mastery. And when doubt arises, when old habits of fear or resignation attempt to dominate, repeat this prayer in your heart. Eternal Father, Principle of Life, I recognize that all matter is your servant, and that my mind, aligned with your will, can shape substance in the image and likeness of truth. I renew my thought in faith, decree health, decree harmony, decree perfection. So it is, and so it shall be. Matter obeys, the mind reigns, and the kingdom of God begins in your thought here and now. Chapter 2. Etheric Hands, the Anatomy of the Energy Body. Spiritual science reveals that the human being is not only flesh, bone, and blood. This physical appearance, so concrete to the senses, is in reality the final link in an invisible chain, the shadowy reflection of a far more subtle and potent body, the etheric body. What is the etheric body? It is the matrix, the luminous blueprint that sustains and shapes every cell, every organ, every function of our organism. Just as an architect draws a plan before constructing a house, so too does life sketch the model of each body in etheric substance before precipitating it into dense matter. Nothing in creation appears first in flesh. Everything, absolutely everything, arises first in the invisible, and the visible is merely the reflection, the consequence, the result. Thus, all true healing begins on the etheric plane. The error of materialistic medicine, born from fear, superstition, and forgetfulness of the spirit, has been to attempt to repair form without addressing the cause in energy. This is why often external surgery removes a tumor, yet the malady reappears because the root remains alive in the etheric body. Think of the etheric body as a luminous envelope, nearly identical in shape to your physical body, but vibrating at a higher frequency. It is invisible to ordinary eyes, yet as real as the invisible perfume of a flower. Some have succeeded in photographing its radiance through methods like Kirlian photography, which shows flashes of light surrounding leaves, fingers, and living objects, revealing energy fields in perpetual motion. These images, mute witnesses of a higher reality, have astonished skeptics and confirmed the intuitive. The etheric body is the mediator between soul and flesh. It receives impressions from the mind, emotion, and spirit, and transmits them to matter. When an idea of illness, scarcity, or fear lodges in the deep mind, the etheric body records it as a disturbance in its luminous fabric. If this disturbance is not dissolved in time, it descends into the physical body, manifesting as illness. Conversely, when the mind decrees health, harmony, and life, the etheric body shines and the flesh regenerates. Here lies the secret of so-called miracles. Everything that appears supernatural is merely the conscious operation of forgotten laws. True healers, those who never exploit others, know the art of acting upon the etheric body. They manipulate energy, restore the original blueprint, dissolve blockages, and precipitate order where chaos reigned. Such was the practice of healers in the Philippines, documented by Western researchers who, without scalpel or anesthesia, inserted their hands into the physical body of patients and extracted diseased tissues that later disappeared while the flesh closed without a scar. These were not tricks, but etheric operations preceding physical transformation. Jesus, the great healer, was the master of etheric surgery. When he restored Malchus's ear, instantly rejoining the severed organ, he did not operate upon the flesh, but restored the perfect etheric blueprint, and the matter obeyed immediately, precipitating healing. Each of his miracles was thus a practical lesson in the laws of the spirit. How then can you begin to perceive, feel, and use this etheric body yourself? The first step is recognition. Accept with humility and faith that you are far more than your flesh. The second step is the deliberate practice of etheric sensitivity. Sit quietly, remove external distractions, and place your palms facing each other, a few centimeters apart. Close your eyes and slowly move your hands closer and farther apart. Soon you will feel warmth, tingling, or subtle resistance, as if an invisible substance vibrates between your palms. That is the etheric body, the vital emanation that envelops you and responds to your attention. Continue this exercise daily, with patience and without forced expectation. Imagine your hands surrounded by a vibrant bluish light and decree mentally, I feel and recognize my etheric body. I become aware of my vital energy. You may gently rub your palms before beginning to awaken circulation. Then explore the contours of your arms, head, and torso, always a few centimeters away, noticing variations in warmth and sensation. With practice, your sensitivity will increase, allowing you to distinguish densities, flows, and areas of blockage or expansion. The etheric body is traversed by channels of energy called nadis, through which vital force circulates. These connect the major centers, the chakras, true vortices of power, each with its function and significance. The heart chakra regulates love and healing. The forehead chakra governs vision and clarity. The crown chakra connects with spirit. When any of these centers are blocked by hatred, fear, or resentment, vital energy stagnates, and illness begins silently in the invisible. How can one tell if their chakras are healthy? Observe your life, your body, your mood. Health, peace, and creativity indicate energetic harmony. Recurrent pain, chronic fatigue, or pessimism reveal imbalance. Do not fear, nothing is fatal. All can be restored through a trained mind and affirmative prayer. Etheric healing begins with visualization. Imagine yourself bathed in golden light. See that light penetrating your organs, muscles, and bones, restoring original perfection. Picture your chakras spinning like wheels of color, radiating health and joy. Feel the energy flowing freely, dissolving every shadow. Practice daily, even if your mind doubts at first. Persevere, for the spirit rewards consistency. I invite you to follow a 30-day protocol to awaken sensitivity in your hands and access your etheric body. Dedicate 5 minutes daily to feeling the energy between your palms as previously described. Then extend your hands over any area requiring healing and decree. Divine light flows through my hands, restoring perfect harmony in this place. Observe without forcing. Simply allow. If done with faith and humility, you will feel warmth, vibration, even small waves of well-being. That is vital energy, the obedient servant of the spirit. At the end of each week, take a few minutes to write down your sensations, perceptions, and changes. Do not seek spectacular results. Miracles are not always lightning strikes. They are often like silent dew on dry earth. Physical surgery is only the shadow of etheric surgery. The hand that heals before touching flesh touches the spirit. The doctor of the future, and you are that doctor of your own life, will first be an artist of the energy body, a conscious servant of the light. Do not dismiss testimonies, however humble. Do not be swayed by the disbelief of those who have never looked beyond the skin. Truth is for those who dare to see with the eyes of the soul. May this knowledge transform your life, and may your hands become daily instruments of healing grace. Nothing is hidden from those who seek with faith. Remember, everything visible arises first in the invisible. Take possession of your etheric body and use it for good, for health, for service, and for joy. Reflect in silence now and pray with me. Heavenly Father, make me aware of the luminous body that sustains me. May my hands be channels of your healing power. May the light flow in me and through me, restoring the original perception of my being. I accept, I receive, I trust. So it is, and so it shall be, and the energy surrounds you, sustains you, responds to you. Make it your ally, and you will see health manifest from the invisible into the visible as the dawn follows the mystery of night. Chapter 3. The Technique of Nocturnal Mental Surgery. Modern man seeks answers in the clamor of the day, in the agitation of the conscious mind, in debate and argument. Yet the great transformations of the soul and body occur in silence, in the fertile twilight of sleep, where the spirit works without resistance. Night, which for many is merely rest and forgetfulness, is in truth the secret workshop where the subconscious, this invisible surgeon, restores, reconstructs, and renews. This is the supreme art of nocturnal mental surgery. It is not necessary for the flesh to be cut, nor for pain to be the gateway to healing. It suffices to access the hidden laboratory of the deep mind, where each cell listens, where each organ is shaped by thought imbued with feeling and faith. Here lies the greatest secret I can reveal. The subconscious mind never sleeps. When the senses rest and the body rests, the subconscious works tirelessly, executing the programs that the conscious mind has implanted during the final moments of wakefulness. Behold the golden threshold between wakefulness and sleep, when the mind is soft as wax and receptive as freshly plowed soil. In that moment, every suggestion is imprinted with power in the deep substrate of the soul, and what is sown there, life brings forth in form and experience. For this reason, the hours of sleep are sacred for the work of self-healing. The technique is simple and majestic. Before sleeping, sit or lie quietly. Dim lights and worries. Breathe deeply. Bring your loving attention to the area of your body requiring healing. Do not see the ailment as an enemy, but as a messenger now taking its leave. Visualize the area bathed in radiant white light, intelligent, knowing exactly what to repair, remove, regenerate, or restore. Feel that light working with delicacy and precision. If you wish, imagine tiny surgeons of light working with invisible instruments, removing what does not belong, reconstructing tissues, organizing cells, restoring perfect function. Nothing is impossible for the omnipotent subconscious. Repeat calmly and with certainty. Tonight, as I sleep, my omnipotent subconscious performs perfect surgery on specific area. Everything is restored, healed, renewed according to the divine model. I awaken healthy, renewed, in perfect harmony. Do this with the feeling of certainty, as one entrusts a letter to an infallible messenger. This is not supplication, nor blind hope. It is a loving command, a firm programming, a confident surrender to the power that dwells within you. Science is beginning to glimpse this mystery. Studies on sleep have revealed that during the REM phase, when the brain pulses in theta waves, the organism displays a regenerative capacity far exceeding that of wakefulness. Immune processes activate, tissues repair, restorative hormones are secreted. The threshold between wakefulness and sleep is the antechamber to this power. What the soul imagines and decrees on this threshold, the body executes while the conscious mind rests. Morisman, known as Bell'Ombre Milagro, was a living example of this law. After an accident left him paralyzed and deemed incurable by science, he refused to accept the final verdict. Each night before sleeping, he visualized himself walking, breathing, moving every muscle. He programmed his subconscious with vivid images of health and freedom. No contrary thought was allowed into his nocturnal workshop. Over time, his body responded to the command of the mind. The impossible became flesh because the law never fails. What you record in your deep mind, you will reap in your experience. For nocturnal mental surgery to be effective, apply the technique of sleepy repetition. Repeat your decree, your visualization, until sleep overcomes you. Do not struggle to stay awake. Allow the image, the sensation of health, the certainty of the outcome to be the last thing your consciousness receives before sleep. Thus, the program passes to the subconscious with multiplied force. Record your progress in a journal. Each morning, note how you feel, what dreams you have had, what changes you perceive in your body and mood. After a few days, you will notice unmistakable signs of progress: pain diminishing, symptoms fading, renewed energy, elevated spirits. Give thanks for each improvement, however small. Gratitude accelerates the process, confirming your faith in the result. Here is the protocol for your nocturnal mental surgery. Choose the area to heal. Relax deeply, body and mind. Visualize the healing with clear images and real sensations. Decree firmly and positively just before sleep. My omnipotent subconscious now performs perfect surgery on area. Everything is restored according to the divine model. Allow the image, decree, and certainty to accompany you into sleep. Upon waking, give thanks and wait calmly for the results. Do not be discouraged if change is not immediate. Faith, like a mustard seed, works in the hidden before manifesting in the visible. If doubt appears, do not resist it. Simply return to your practice with humility and trust. Remember, the subconscious mind, when programmed with conviction and love, is the hand of God operating through you. This technique has transformed lives, restored bodies deemed lost, and returned hope where only resignation remained. It is not magic nor illusion. It is the practical application of an eternal law confirmed by Scripture and experience. Pray with me now. Heavenly Father, all-seeing and all-powerful, I entrust my body and mind to the power of your perfect law. My subconscious, guided by divine wisdom, works tonight in my favor. Every shadow dissolves, every wound is restored, every organ performs perfectly. I sleep in peace and awaken renewed. Thank you, for so it is and so it shall be. The night is your ally. Your subconscious is the silent surgeon. Allow the light to work in the unseen, and you will see the miracle arise in your flesh. Chapter 4. Active Faith versus Passive Faith, the Secret of Miracles. Humanity has confused faith with hope, conviction with desire, knowledge of the law with the superstition of chance for centuries. It is necessary to untangle this knot and look squarely at the nature of faith, for here lies the secret of miracles. No power of the Spirit is set in motion by doubt or timid desire. Only active faith, faith that works, transforms life, and bends the course of matter. What is passive faith? It is the faith of one who waits, of one who prays asking, but deep down does not expect to receive. It is the faith that resigns itself, that confuses humility with powerlessness and prayer with lament. It is the faith of the beggar, not the child. How many pray day after day for health, peace, or prosperity, yet in their hearts believe that God's will is capricious, that perhaps their requests will be ignored. This is the faith of chance, the one that does not know the law, that expects miracles without understanding how they operate. It is the faith of a seed cast on stone. It sprouts for a moment, then dies, for it has no roots. Active faith, on the other hand, is something entirely different. It is vibrant certainty, the deep conviction that the principle responds, that the mental law operates with mathematical precision. It is the faith of the spiritual scientist who knows that well-directed prayer produces results, just as fire produces heat and a seed bears fruit. It is not a desire, nor a hope. It is knowledge. Those who possess active faith do not ask as those who doubt, but command as those who know. They declare and expect the result. They visualize, feel, decree, and give thanks before the manifestation, because their expectation already places them in possession of what they request. When Jesus said, "Your faith has healed you," he was not speaking of blind faith, but of a certainty so powerful that it mobilizes the deepest forces of the subconscious and precipitates the miracle. The woman suffering from bleeding, who for years had been written off by doctors, understood this secret. She did not ask permission. She did not wait for faith to visit her from outside. She activated her faith from within. She said to herself, "If I but touch his garment, I will be healed." And she did it. Her faith was not a simple wish, but a magnetic force, an expectation so intense that it drew power from Christ himself. Jesus, feeling the power flowing from him, asked, "Who touched me?" For that faith was an irresistible magnet, the channel through which divine energy flowed. "Daughter, your faith has healed you." This is the most revolutionary and liberating declaration in all of Scripture. Not all who pray are healers, nor does every prayer produce results. Some pray out of habit, fear, or desperation, but their faith is a shadow. Active faith, however, is dynamic, expectant, alive. It is like the current that lights a lamp. Without contact, there is no light. Without a critical mass of conviction, there is no miracle. How is that critical mass built? The human mind is like a scale. On one side are thoughts of doubt, fear, and resignation. On the other, affirmations of faith, certainty, and expectation. When positive, affirming thoughts felt with emotion outweigh the weight of doubt, the tipping point is reached. Manifestation becomes inevitable. It is like water reaching its boiling point. No matter how cold and still it seemed before, the change is instantaneous. Therefore, it is vital to feed the mind each day with thoughts of faith, repeated affirmations, vivid visualizations, and anticipatory gratitude. Thinking once and forgetting is not enough. The law responds to intensity, repetition, and deep feeling. Plant an idea with enough feeling, belief, and expectation, and you will inevitably reap the fruit of that seed. This is the formula that reveals the secret mechanics of miracles. Feeling plus belief plus expectation equals sign manifestation. These are not empty words, it is a spiritual equation. If you ask without feeling, nothing happens. If you believe halfway, the result will be lukewarm. If you expect with certainty, the law works in your favor, for the subconscious does not distinguish between what is real and what is vividly imagined. Active faith is not learned overnight. It is a mental habit cultivated through daily exercises, conscious attention, and persistent practice. Dedicate a few minutes each day to imagine in detail your healthy body, your harmonious life, your fulfilled desires. Feel the joy, the gratitude, the peace of knowing it is already done on the invisible plane. Give thanks as if you have already received it. If doubt appears, do not resist. Simply return to your practice. Faith grows like a muscle. The more you use it, the stronger it becomes. There are thousands of testimonies of instant healings when faith reaches that boiling point. People who, after years of illness or limitation, experience sudden improvement, radical change. It is not chance, nor God's whim. It is the result of a law that never fails. When mind and heart unite in certainty, matter responds. Just as the sun disperses fog, so active faith dissolves evil and precipitates good. Make your life a school of practical faith. Do not resign yourself to passive faith that waits endlessly without seeing. Be an experimenter, a practitioner, a witness to the living law. Every difficulty is an opportunity to apply this knowledge and experience firsthand the power of manifestation. Reflect and pray with me. Eternal Father, awaken in me operative faith, the certainty that moves mountains. Let my thought, my feeling, and my expectation align with truth. Make me master of the law, not a slave to empty hope. Let that which I affirm, feel, and expect already be mine in spirit. I give thanks, for so it is, and so it shall be. Active faith is the secret of miracles. Use it and you will see reality bend before the certainty of the Spirit. Here is the key, the formula, and the promise. The miracle is law for those who act with living, expectant faith. Chapter 5. Documented cases when science cannot deny. The most powerful testimony is not rumor nor anecdote, but the fact verified and upheld before the eyes of those who, by vocation, distrust the invisible. The human mind is naturally skeptical. It demands proof, tangible evidence that can be weighed, measured, and photographed. Yet even in the face of evidence, the materialist dogma resists yielding its throne. But truth, when manifested in facts, eventually finds a way, even through the thickest walls of scientific prejudice. Today we must lift the veil and look face to face at those cases in which psychic surgery was scrutinized under the lens of scientific method and the watchful eyes of skeptics. These are not vague stories or popular rumors. They are clinical records, films, sworn testimonies of doctors who entered as unbelievers and emerged as astonished witnesses. One of the names that resounds in the history of psychic surgery is Tonyat Atpawa, a Filipino healer whose work was meticulously studied by Dr. Andrea Quarik, a renowned American researcher. Quarik, alongside a team of doctors and scientists, personally observed dozens of operations in which Atpawa, using only his bare hands, extracted tumors, cysts, and foreign objects from patients. All of this occurred without anesthesia, without scalpels, with the patients conscious, conversing, without a single sign of pain. Incisions opened and closed before the camera, and the extracted tissues were analyzed in independent laboratories, confirming their biological authenticity. The clinical records accumulate. There are X-rays taken before and after the procedures, showing the complete disappearance of abnormal masses. The names of attending doctors are recorded, patient and family testimonies archived, and spectroscopic analyses of materialized tissues preserved. In more than one case, laboratories concluded that the extracted organs did not belong to any known animal in the region, ruling out any possibility of common fraud. These records, resting in hospital and university archives, constitute an open challenge to conventional medicine. Equally striking is the story of Arrigo, the knife surgeon of Brazil. In the mid-20th century, Arrigo performed more than 16,000 documented surgeries, many under the direct observation of doctors, lawyers, journalists, and filmmakers. The operations were simple, yet extraordinary. Without anesthesia, without pain, often using rudimentary instruments or simply his hands, Arrigo extracted tumors, corrected congenital defects, removed foreign objects, and closed wounds in seconds without leaving a scar. All was filmed, transcribed, and notarized. Patients written off by science, death, or disability regained health and mobility, and their clinical records remain as mute witnesses to the action of higher laws. The statistics, when compared to conventional surgery, are even more remarkable. Success rates far exceed hospital averages, complication cases are minimal, and accounts of spontaneous healing abound. Some skeptical doctors, confronted with evidence, were forced to re-evaluate their beliefs. In several cases, physicians invited to witness the procedures entered the operating room as skeptics, declaring that they would investigate possible trickery or collective deceit, and left convinced under oath that they found no explanation within the known parameters of medicine. One of the most compelling elements of these investigations was the forensic analysis of biological materializations. Samples of blood, tissues, and tumors extracted during psychic surgery were analyzed under microscopes and spectroscopes in independent laboratories. The results consistently showed that these were not inert substances or prepared artifacts, but living human tissue, often corresponding to the patient's diseased area. In some cases, the skin incision appeared to close as if it had never existed, leaving intact skin where minutes earlier there had been blood and exposed flesh. Film recordings preserved in university and medical institute archives show patients calmly interacting with those present, unaware of pain, observing the operation as spectators rather than victims. In many cases, patients reported feeling only pressure or warmth, followed by a surge of well-being and renewed energy. The healings were immediate and the effects enduring. Where medicine declared there is nothing more to be done, psychic surgery offered an alternative that, far from superstition, rested on the power of the mind and the management of the etheric body. These cases are not material for idle gossip, but for reflection and honest study. When science encounters facts it cannot explain with current theories, the true scientist does not reject them, but expands their frame of reference, seeking new laws to account for reality. This has always been the progress of human knowledge. The accumulation of clinical records, before and after X-rays, tissue analyses, and sworn testimonies constitute a body of evidence impossible to ignore. These are not fairground tales or ignorant rumors. They are verifiable data demanding explanation. They herald a new medicine, where mind, faith, and the etheric body work together under laws we are only beginning to glimpse. Let these stories speak to your mind and heart, not to provoke empty astonishment, but to invite you to experience the law in your own life. If matter is the servant of the mind, and the etheric body the blueprint of flesh, what limit exists for one who learns to operate in the invisible? Reflect, meditate, and pray with me. Heavenly Father, open my eyes to the truth that manifests in facts, not in beliefs. Grant me humility to acknowledge what I do not understand and courage to accept what experience confirms. Make me a witness to your living law, so that health, peace, and miracles may be the heritage of all. So it is, and so it shall be. Truth fears no scrutiny. Documented miracles do not vanish under the microscope. Rather, they compel science to rise to their explanation. The future of medicine belongs to the enlightened mind and the operating spirit. Here are the facts. The next step is yours. Chapter 6. The persecution of the medical establishment. Man seeks health as he seeks water and light. But when he discovers that the source of health lies within himself, in his mind, in his spirit, the system that thrives on ignorance and fear feels threatened. This is the hidden root of the persecution against anyone who reveals the truth of the mental and spiritual power to heal. It is not fraud, superstition, or charlatanism that provokes the system's wrath, but the threat to its economic foundations. The urbanized medical world, represented by associations such as the AMA, the American Medical Association, and their equivalents in other countries, has systematically persecuted those who, with visible and documented results, challenge the belief that health is the monopoly of drugs and the scalpel. This is neither a new story nor exclusive to any single nation. It is the age-old struggle between the light of the spirit and the inertia of entrenched interests. If the people discovered that the power of healing lies in their minds, in affirmative prayer, in the conscious use of the law, who would spend fortunes on external remedies? Who would submit docilely to endless therapies when they could, with discipline and faith, effect lasting change in their bodies and lives? This silent and feared question echoes through the corridors of medical economic power. It is not error that is punished, but the challenge to the market. There are many painful cases. Consider Royal Rife, inventor of a machine capable of eliminating pathogenic microorganisms through vibratory frequencies. He documented cures of cancer and other serious diseases. He was celebrated by science, yet he was persecuted, his laboratories destroyed, and his research discredited through orchestrated campaigns. Doctors who attempted to apply his methods were stripped of their licenses and publicly ridiculed. Zariosi, another healer whose herbal formulas restored hope to thousands of terminal patients, was repeatedly taken to court, accused of practicing medicine without a license, even though his patients and clinical records testified to results superior to those of official medicine. The case of Linus Pauling, twice Nobel laureate, is even more revealing. Pauling advocated the use of high doses of vitamin C as a preventive and curative method. He was ridiculed, his studies ignored, his reputation attacked, not because his work was rare, but because his truth threatened a vast market. The Flesner Report of 1910, financed by private interests, redefined medicine in the United States, eliminating overnight the teaching and practice of alternative, natural and energetic therapies. Only allopathic medicine based on chemical drugs and physical intervention was recognized and legally protected. Everything else was persecuted, silenced, or mocked. Many honest doctors, convinced through experience of the benefits of natural and mental methods, were expelled, threatened, or forced to retract. This is not a rejection of science, nor an attempt to demonize medicine. There are courageous doctors who have honored their oath and helped thousands with integrity, but the economic and political structure of the system has turned health into a business, and fear, ignorance, and dependence into tools of control. Internal AMA memos have sometimes admitted that the greatest danger to their industry is the advance of positive thinking, self-healing, and spiritual power. They fear losses, not mistakes. Suppression operates in many ways: endless lawsuits, smear campaigns in press and radio, laws restricting the freedom to choose healing methods. Clinics are closed, therapists persecuted, patients intimidated. The persecution is not always violent. Sometimes it is subtle, disguised as protection of the public, combating fraud or defending science. Yet the underlying motive is always the same: protect a market, not life. How should one respond to this reality? Resentment only prolongs the shadow. Truth demands firmness, but also compassion. Forgive those who, out of ignorance or self-interest, have persecuted the new, but do not remain blind. Open your eyes, do not surrender your consciousness or your body to anyone's interests. Learn the law, practice self-healing, investigate, question, and above all, share knowledge with humility and love. Truth is patient. Great discoveries are first ridiculed, then opposed, and finally accepted as obvious. Do not seek the approval of the system. Seek the inner voice that guides you toward freedom, health, and wholeness. Help others discover that the true doctor lives within, that thought creates, prayer transforms, and conscious faith is the key to all healing. Reflect on this prayer. Eternal Father, grant me clarity to discern truth amid the interests of this world. May I hold no resentment in my heart, yet may I have the lucidity and courage to defend the right to self-healing. Make me an instrument of light and understanding, so that health may manifest without barriers or chains, guided solely by your wisdom and love. So it is, and so it shall be. The persecution of the system is no obstacle for one who has found the source of life in his own mind and in the inner Christ. No external power can suppress the truth once it has been recognized and practiced in the heart of the free man. Chapter 7. Malchus's Ear, Instant Tissue Restoration. Among the miracles of Jesus recorded in the Gospels, there is one that, for those with eyes to see, is the golden key to the supreme art of metaphysical healing, the instant restoration of Malchus's ear. This event, recorded in the Gospel of John 18:10, is not merely a pious tale or a feat lost in the mists of history. For the initiate in the mental law, it is a precise revelation of how the spirit can restore physical form by accessing the perfect blueprint, the divine mold that exists from the beginning, the universal mind. Let us first recall the account in the Garden of Gethsemane. When the soldiers and servants of the high priest come to seize Jesus, Simon Peter, moved by the human impulse to defend, draws his sword and strikes Malchus, cutting off his right ear. Jesus, without hesitation, touches the wounded place, and the ear is instantly restored as if nothing had happened. The severed flesh regenerates, the mutilated form regains its integrity, and the miracle occurs before all eyes. What truly happened? From the perspective of mental law and metaphysics, the answer lies in the concept of the divine mold, the original template of the perfect body that remains intact on the etheric plane, even when the physical matter suffers damage, mutilation, or disease. Just as an architect always preserves the blueprints of a house, even if the construction undergoes alterations, so the spirit keeps in the divine mind the blueprint of every organ, every tissue, every cell in its perfect state. When injury, a wound, amputation, or illness occurs, matter merely reflects a temporary alteration in the external manifestation. Yet the original idea remains intact in the master archive of the universal soul. Christ, in acting, does not struggle with the flesh nor submit to appearances. He accesses the perfect blueprint with authority, and by affirming its reality, precipitates the form back into matter, restoring what appears lost. This is the technique of restoring the original template. In Gethsemane, Jesus did not stop to plead or debate. He touched the wounded place and mentally decreed the reality of the perfect mold. The flesh obeyed the higher command, and the still bleeding ear was instantly regenerated. The miracle is not a violation of law, but the supreme use of law. This truth is not exclusive to Jesus. Today, medical science is beginning to document cases of spontaneous tissue regeneration. Individuals who, against all prognosis, recover fingers, teeth, or parts of organs in processes that conventional medicine cannot explain. But the metaphysical mind recognizes as restoration from the original etheric mold. The cases of young children regenerating fingertips, adults seeing new teeth appear, or deep wounds healing in hours are imperfect but genuine reflections of the great law. How can you, child of God, apply this principle in your life? How can you access that master archive and precipitate restoration in your body or in the body of others? The first step is recognition. The perfect pattern of my organ exists eternally in the divine mind and now manifests. Repeating this affirmation with faith, visualization, and consent is the key that unlocks the spirit's storehouse. Do not resign yourself to the appearance of mutilation, deterioration, or illness. Recognize the permanent existence of the perfect template and command it to manifest. Imagine each day that the part of your body, or of the one you love, is enveloped in pure, intelligent white light. See that light working as an invisible sculptor, reconstructing the exact form, restoring every cell, every fiber, every function. Do not focus on the details of the damage. Look only at the original mold, the perfect form, the restored function. Feel gratitude and certainty that the law is already at work. You can reinforce this work with a guided visualization. Sit in silence, breathe deeply. Mentally affirm, now I access in spirit the master archive of my being. I see the perfect mold of my organ shining in divine light. I command this pattern to descend and manifest now in my physical body. Every cell responds, every tissue is restored, perfection becomes visible. I give thanks because it is so. Practice this daily without forcing, without impatience. The law responds to persistence, faith, and detachment. Just as Malchus's ear was restored in an instant, any organ or tissue can be reconstructed from the original matrix if the mind aligns with the spirit. Remember always, flesh is the shadow of the idea, and the idea, when affirmed with authority, precipitates form. Do not struggle with appearances. Decree the reality of the perfect mold. This is how Christ acts in you. Meditate and pray with me. Loving Father, I acknowledge that in your mind exists the perfect mold of every part of my being. I command with faith and humility that the original template of health and perfection manifest now in my body. Every wound is restored, every form regenerated, every function fulfilled according to the divine idea. I give thanks because it is so, and it shall be so. The miracle of Malchus is not a distant memory, it is a living promise. The Master Archive is always accessible to those who seek with faith and act with knowledge. Make your life a laboratory of the law, and you will see restoration where others see only loss. Here is the key. Use it, and the Spirit will do the rest. Chapter 8. Surgical Visualization, the Scalpel of Mental Light. Every manifestation in matter begins in the mind. Whoever understands this principle becomes the architect of their body and destiny. The art of surgical visualization is the bold step that elevates the prayer of desire to the work of the Spirit. Here there is no fantasy or superstition, but spiritual science in action. The mind as scalpel, light as instrument, and clear intention as the surgeon's command to the universe. Before beginning any mental intervention on your own body, prepare as a surgeon would. Find a quiet place where nothing disturbs your concentration. Sit or lie comfortably. Spine straight, hands free. Close your eyes and take deep breaths, directing them to the center of your chest. Feel each exhale relaxing your muscles, calming your heart, and clearing the mind of passing thoughts. Now, with focused attention, imagine your body as a luminous and transparent temple of light. Observe with the eyes of the Spirit the area in need of healing. Do not look upon it with fear or rejection. See it with love, as an artisan regards the piece they are about to restore. Notice its details, shape, color, texture. The more precise your mental image, the more powerful the intervention. Clarity of image is the key that opens the door from the invisible to the visible. Imagine a scalpel of radiant light appearing in your hands. It is not a common knife. It is a mental instrument forged from the intelligent energy of your thought. Feel its weight, its subtle edge, the vibration of power in your palm. With your mind, bring it to the area requiring treatment. Visualize the cut of light penetrating the etheric tissue, without pain, without blood, without fear. See how the light gently separates what must be removed, a cyst, an obstruction, a mass. Do this with the certainty that every movement is guided by divine intelligence, that your mental hands are precise and secure. Next, imagine delicate yet strong light forceps. Use them to carefully remove what must be eliminated. Watch the undesired substance dissolve into a cloud of white light, transmuted into pure energy. If you need to cauterize or seal, visualize a golden light cauterizer gently touching the treated area, leaving a glow of perfection. Feel in every step the profound calm of the surgeon who knows success is inevitable because they work with the law. If your knowledge of anatomy allows, visualize organs, arteries, and tissues with as much precision as possible. Use reference sheets, models, or real diagrams beforehand so that your mind has concrete material to operate upon. Do not limit yourself to a blurry vision. Detail, texture, color, and movement all contribute to the efficacy of your mental surgery. There is a powerful technique I call the observer and the operator. One part of your mind remains attentive, supervising the scene, ensuring that the intention stays pure and the visualization sharp. The other part, the operator, executes the movements, directs the light, manipulates the instruments. This mental division guarantees depth of concentration and control over the process. Throughout the procedure, maintain elevated emotion. Feel the healing as if it were real and present, vitality returning, perfection being restored. Do not hesitate. Do not interrupt with thoughts of disbelief. If doubt appears, observe it and let it pass like a cloud in the sky. Return firmly to the creative act. Felt emotion and certainty that what is done is real in the invisible plane precipitate the result in the visible plane. Numerous cases exist of patients dissolving gallstones, removing cysts, clearing arteries, or regenerating tissue through this practice. The key is always mental clarity, disciplined feeling, and consistent exercise. At first the mind may wander, the images may be faint. Persevere. Each session strengthens your creative capacity. Begin with simple interventions, a small inflammation, localized pain, and progress to more complex situations as your faith and skill grow. After the intervention, visualize the treated area surrounded by blue or green light, colors associated with healing and balance. Feel a wave of gratitude flood your being, as if you have already received the miracle. Repeat a powerful affirmation, for example. Divine intelligence guides my mental hands. My body responds to the light. I am healthy. I am perfect. All is restored according to the original model. Remain in this state for several minutes in silence and peace. Record your experiences in a journal, the changes you observe, sensations during and after each session. Every positive sign, a pain that subsides, renewed energy, unexpected improvement, is testimony that the law is at work. Do not seek instant results with anxiety. Allow nature to follow its course, knowing the process is underway. Make this art a regular discipline. Just as a musician tunes their instrument and a painter exercises their hand, so you refine your mind, your attention, and your creative power. What today seems astonishing will tomorrow feel natural. The scalpel of mental light is in your hands. Etheric surgery is your divine right. Recite this prayer with me. Father of light, make my mind an instrument of your healing power. Let my visualization be clear, my intention pure, and my emotion elevated. Let the scalpel of my thought act only for good, restoring the original perfection in every cell of my being. I give thanks because healing is law, and the law never fails. So it is, and so it shall be. Visualize, feel, affirm, persevere. The mind is the great surgeon, light is the tool, and health is your inheritance. The miracle is the natural result of a well-applied technique. Here is the guide. Dare to use it. Chapter 9. Mental Chemistry, Secreting Healing Substances. The human body is a prodigious laboratory. Within it, silent and constant, operates a pharmacy whose perfection surpasses all human invention. Thousands of substances are manufactured every moment. Natural analgesics, internal antibiotics, regulatory hormones, reparative molecules. The miracle is not outside you, but pulsating in every cell, awaiting the command of your thought to unleash its full power. Whoever understands this will never again feel powerless before illness. Material medicine has advanced, but it is always limited by the scope of its external resources. Human pharmacies may sometimes clumsily replicate what nature produces in her inner laboratory, but spiritual science teaches that the subconscious mind is the great hidden chemist, the silent alchemist, capable of manufacturing any substance the body requires, in the perfect dose at the perfect moment, when given the precise instruction in a propitious environment. Consider endorphins, those molecules of joy and relief. A thought of joy, a visualization of peace, a beautiful memory can trigger within minutes a cascade of internal analgesics capable of suppressing the sharpest pain and restoring a weary spirit. Science has measured these effects. They are not hypotheses, but verified facts. The same occurs with enkephalins, neurotransmitters that elevate vitality, calm anxiety, and promote physical recovery. Where does this alchemy come from? From the spirit, using the subconscious as its laboratory. The great yogis of the East have known this for millennia. They focus their minds, slow their vital functions, alter temperature, pulse, and blood composition solely through the power of sustained will and mental imagery. Modern medicine, astonished, is only beginning to explore these limits. The key lies in the mental decree. My subconscious now secretes the perfect chemistry for specific condition. Repeated with faith and emotion, this order is received by the subconscious as a clear directive, and it responds by mobilizing the entire intelligence of the body to fulfill the command. The difference between those who achieve these results and those who do not lies in the certainty, clarity, and consistency with which the thought is directed to the subconscious. Consider the mystery of the placebo. People receive an inert substance, water, sugar, but believe it is an effective medicine. Their faith, expectation, and emotion activate the internal pharmacy, and symptoms vanish, pain recedes, and healing precipitates. It was not the pill, but the mental command. This also explains spontaneous remission of severe illnesses. Correctly activated, the subconscious produces the chemistry necessary to restore organs, destroy malignant cells, and reinforce the immune system. Many documented cases of cancer show that after deep prayer, powerful visualization, and genuine acts of faith, The body generates immunological surges so intense that disease cells vanish without a trace. The miracle is the law operating at its highest level. Every cell possesses intelligence. Every organ listens to the voice of the soul. How can you activate this power in your life? The first step is to recognize that the body obeys the mind, and that all external pharmacies are merely imperfect echoes of the internal one. Dedicate a few minutes each day to visualizing your blood, glands, and organs working in harmony, secreting precisely the substances you need to heal, strengthen, and rejuvenate. Practice this simple exercise. Find a quiet place. Relax your body and mind. Visualize your endocrine glands, pancreas, thyroid, adrenals, shining like small suns, producing perfect, balanced hormones. Imagine your white blood cells patrolling your body with vigor, destroying what does not belong, repairing what is damaged. Feel a wave of well-being coursing through you, as if a warm, luminous medicine were bathing every cell. Accompany this image with the affirmation, "My subconscious now produces the perfect chemistry for me, for my organ, tissue, condition. Every cell responds. I am health, I am vitality, I am balance." Practiced with devotion and faith, you will notice new sensations: warmth, tingling, deep peace, mental clarity. These internal chemical surges are signs that the subconscious has received your command and is executing it. Use this also whenever you feel pain or discomfort. Pause before reaching for an external remedy. Decree, "Now my body produces its perfect analgesic, and the pain dissolves." Feel the command extend from your mind to your body like a rain of light. Give thanks, for it is so. Over time, you will see that the response becomes faster and more complete. The mind can produce antibiotics, antidotes, hormones, regenerative agents. There is no limit for a subconscious activated by faith and knowledge of the law. Never resign yourself to lack or exclusive dependence on external resources. Your spirit is the source of all health. Reflect and pray with me. Father of wisdom, make me conscious of the perfect laboratory you have placed within me. Let my mind command, my subconscious obey, and my body be filled with the exact chemistry for my well-being. I bless every cell, every gland, every molecule, for they are instruments of your healing power. I give thanks, for the divine pharmacy within me is infinite and perfect. So it is. So it shall be. When you recognize this power, health becomes your natural state, and miracles an everyday science. The mind is the supreme pharmacy. Learn to use it, and nothing will be lacking. Chapter 10. Programming Intelligent Cells. The human body is a vast universe, a concert of trillions of tiny lives collaborating toward a common purpose: your conscious existence. Each cell, each globule, each fiber is an obedient being endowed with intelligence and memory. This is not fantasy, nor mere spiritual poetry, but a truth science is beginning to glimpse, and metaphysics has long proclaimed: your cells listen and obey your thoughts, your emotions, your decrees. For centuries, humanity believed the body to be a blind machine, governed only by reflexes and automatic reactions. But now we know, and science confirms, that each cell is sensitive, communicative, creative. Candice Pert, researcher of neuropeptides, revealed that these molecules act as words and sentences in the secret language of the cells. Thought, when transformed into emotion, triggers the release of neuropeptides that flow through the bloodstream, carrying clear messages to every corner of the organism. The mind is not confined to the brain, it resides in every cell. What does this imply? That you can speak with your organs, that you can summon your cells and give them precise instructions. The testimonies are many. Patients once declared terminal who, day after day, imagined their white blood cells as an organized army attacking diseased cells, repairing tissues, restoring harmony. Cases of tumor regression studied by Carl Simonton showed how guided visualization and loving instruction transformed physical reality, forcing the reprogramming of rebellious cell colonies. The key lies in language. If your thoughts are filled with fear, resentment, or hopelessness, your cells receive them as commands for chaos or self-destruction. But if you instruct them with love, confidence, and clarity, they obey, correct, and heal. There is no organ beyond the reach of your mind. There is no cell that does not listen when you speak with the voice of the Spirit. I invite you to a revolutionary practice, the cellular assembly. Each day, preferably in a state of deep relaxation, imagine that you are the leader of a great council. Visualize thousands of cells from a specific organ, the liver, the heart, the lungs, the skin, gathered before you, attentive and receptive. Welcome them, recognize them, thank them for their constant service, then speak to them with simple, firm words about what you need. Beloved liver cells, I call you to this council to decree harmony, repair, and vitality. All abnormal functioning ceases now. Every diseased cell transforms into a healthy one or dissolves lovingly. Every function is restored according to the divine pattern. Imagine that each cell feels, responds, and carries out the received order. Feel that the communication is real and effective. Do the same with rebellious cells, such as cancerous ones. Do not curse or reject them. Command them with authority. Cells out of order, you now receive the instruction to return to your original nature or to dissolve and leave the body in peace. Every cell listens and obeys. Visualize the response. Some cells return to their normal form, others disappear, all in order and peace. Do you doubt this power? Remember that faith is the key, and that the subconscious does not distinguish between what is vividly imagined and what is physically real. Just as visualization creates emotion, emotion moves chemistry and chemistry directs biology. The law never fails. If you remain constant, you will see results. Patients who practiced this technique reported the disappearance of tumors, normalization of functions, and a renewed vital energy. White blood cells, visualized as soldiers of light, receive precise strategies. Defender cells patrol every corner, eliminate what is harmful, repair what is useful, restore total health. Make this a daily ritual, calm, loving, disciplined. When you feel discouraged, remember the key affirmation: all the cells of my body respond perfectly to my mental instructions. Repeat it as a decree every morning and every night. Let your cells receive it and fulfill it. Begin with simple exercises. Start by dialoguing with small areas, a wound, a localized pain, and observe how the response comes sooner than expected. Then, expand your practice to entire organs and systems. Keep a journal of your impressions and results. Every advance reinforces faith and cellular obedience. Within you resides a power that transcends the scalpel and the drug, the power of organizing consciousness, the voice of the inner Christ that commands, and matter responds. You are not a passive spectator of your biology. You are the supreme chief of your cellular life. Honor that role. Use it with wisdom. Close this chapter with a prayer. Father of life, thank you for the army of cells that sustains my existence. I now decree from the awareness of your power that every cell in my body acts in perfect harmony, listening and obeying the instructions of my spirit. Health, order, and vitality are manifest, for so it is, and so it shall be. Cellular intelligence is your ally. Thought is the leader. Healing is perfect obedience. Make your mind the guide, and you will see miracles where once there was only diagnosis. Chapter 11. Remote Healing, Distance Surgery. The spirit knows no boundaries. The mind, in its true nature, is not chained to the brain, nor limited by the confines of the physical body. The eternal truth is that we are immersed in an ocean of universal consciousness, where every mind is ultimately one with the mind of God. Here lies both the possibility and the responsibility of remote healing, psychic surgery across distance, defying material laws and confirming the essential unity of all life. Many ask, how is it possible to act upon another's body when they are not present? When distance intervenes, when there is no physical contact? The key lies in the universal mind, the great field of life where every thought, intention, and feeling communicates instantly. Just as a stone thrown into a lake produces waves that ripple across the surface, so a directed thought, charged with faith and love, reaches its intended target through invisible yet real channels. Experiments by Dr. Dean Radin have shown how human intention can affect biological systems, cell cultures, and even isolated cells at a distance. Studies of intercessory prayer with controlled groups reveal that people who are unaware that prayers are being offered on their behalf show significant clinical improvement compared to those who do not receive such attention. This is not direct suggestion nor psychological manipulation. It is the mental law operating across space because the spirit knows no distance. The practice of remote healing demands ethics and respect. The first principle is consent. One must never intervene in another's energetic field without permission, except in emergencies and with the purest intention of service. Free will is inviolable. The mind, like a scalpel, can heal or harm. Therefore, every remote surgery must be preceded by prayer and the invocation of the highest good. How can one perform a distant intervention? The method is clear and simple. If you wish to help someone far away, first seek their consent if possible. Then prepare your space with the same devotion as if they were present. If you have a photograph, use it as a mental tuner. If not, the person's name and mental image will suffice. Hold the photo in your hands or visualize the person in your mind. Declare, "In the universal mind there is no distance. Now I am in perfect communion with Name." The divine light flows to them, restoring, healing, and balancing. Every cell and organ responds to the higher order. Imagine the person enveloped in golden light. Visualize the area to be treated as if you had an ethereal model of their body before you. Mentally perform the same steps as in self-surgery. Scalpel of light, extraction, cleansing, sealing, restoration. See every cell obeying, every organ responding to the higher command. Give thanks for the healing, not as a future event, but as a present reality in the spiritual plane. The effectiveness of this technique has been proven countless times. Healers worldwide have performed successful interventions using only a photograph, a hair, or even the person's written name. The morphogenetic field, as Rupert Sheldrake describes, connects all living beings in a matrix of information and energy. Thought, when directed with pure intention and intense feeling, produces real changes in this field, which are then reflected in the physical body. There is no need to force or obsess over the outcome. Remote healing is a seed planted in the spirit. The timing and form of its manifestation belong to divine wisdom. If doubts arise, return to the certainty that love is the most powerful force in the universe, and that all good sent forth returns multiplied to both giver and receiver. Documented cases exist of psychic surgeons performing interventions on photographs, with patients reporting immediate clinical improvement, symptom reduction, or complete healing confirmed by physicians. These testimonies are not exceptions. They are evidence of a universal law in action. Intercessory prayer, done with love, faith, and precise visualization, is mental surgery, as real as any performed on one's own body. Exercise caution and respect. Never impose your will upon another's process. Always decree that the divine will and perfect good prevail according to the highest interest of Name. If resistance appears, or if the person does not wish to receive healing, honor their path. Love does not invade, it only offers. Regular practice of remote healing expands consciousness, strengthens faith, and reveals the sense of universal fraternity. You will realize that the other is yourself in another form, and that what you do for them, you do for yourself and for the Spirit. Close this chapter with a prayer. Universal Father, I acknowledge the unity of all life in your mind. Send your light through my thought wherever it is most needed. Let healing occur according to your perfect will, and let good manifest without limits of time or distance. I give thanks, for so it is and so it shall be. The mind knows no boundaries. Remote healing is the manifestation of love operating beyond the flesh. Channel this light, and you will see that for the Spirit there is no distance, and for living faith, nothing is impossible. Chapter 12. Preventive Maintenance, Surgery Before Illness. The greatest wisdom does not lie in curing disease, but in preventing its appearance. It is neither virtue nor merit to endure physical suffering as if it were a natural part of life. Truth teaches that health is the original state, the natural expression of a being whose mind is aligned with the divine principle. Therefore, just as you care for the cleanliness of your home and the maintenance of your tools, you must learn the art of psychic maintenance, surgery before the ailment appears in the body. Disease is almost always the final outcome of a long process that began in the invisible, in the mind, in emotion, in the etheric body. The wise do not wait for illness to manifest. They inspect their inner world daily, correcting thoughts, clearing energies, restoring order in the subtle planes. Just as a gardener removes weeds before they set seed, you can eliminate mental and energetic germs before they take root in your flesh. Begin each morning with a morning maintenance protocol. Upon waking, devote 10 minutes to a conscious inspection of your body and energy. Relax, breathe deeply, and mentally scan each part of your being, from the crown of your head to the soles of your feet. Imagine a soft, penetrating white light, exploring every organ, every tissue, every cell. Ask mentally, is there any area that is tense, cold, painful, or disturbed? Do not fear what you discover. Observe without judgment, with the attitude of a physician seeking prevention rather than condemnation. Apply the light scanning technique. Visualize a beam of light traveling through your body, pausing wherever you perceive a blockage, a shadow, or an unusual sensation. When you identify a vulnerable area, surround it with golden light. Feel the energy cleanse, restore, and vitalize it. Declare with authority, every imperfection in my etheric body dissolves now in light. The perfect pattern of health is restored in every cell. Do this with conviction, knowing that each day of preventive attention is an investment in well-being and longevity. Do not neglect energetic cleansing. After the scan, visualize a stream of blue or violet light flowing from head to toe, carrying away every trace of fatigue, worry, resentment, or fear. See the light remove all that does not belong to your divine nature. Conclude with an affirmation. I am cleansed, balanced, and protected by divine light. Nothing negative can reside in me. A mind trained in loving vigilance detects disturbances before matter expresses them. If you practice this inspection and cleansing daily, you will begin to notice subtle signals: unusual fatigue, mild irritation, recurring anxious thoughts. Treat these symptoms as warnings, not punishments. Correct the mental cause before the seed manifests physically. Perform regular mental checkups. What thoughts dominate your mind? What emotions do you repeat? Are there unresolved resentments, fears you allow? Every thought is an order to your body. Every emotion is a message to your cells. Spend a few minutes each night reviewing your day, blessing difficult moments, releasing all that you do not wish to carry into sleep. Incorporate daily preventive affirmations into your routine. My body responds perfectly to the divine law of health. Vital energy flows freely in every cell of my being. Nothing negative can reside in me. Light protects and restores me. Speak with devotion and feeling, not mere repetition. Let each word be a living seed in the fertile soil of your subconscious mind. Countless practitioners who maintain this daily regimen of inspection, cleansing, and affirmation live years without illness, with renewed energy, and a body that reflects mental order. Health is neither miracle nor exception. It is the natural result of a properly programmed mind. Set yourself a 90-day intensive psychic maintenance plan. Dedicate 10 minutes each morning and evening to your scan and cleansing protocol. Record your perceptions, sensations, and progress in a notebook. Observe how your mood improves, fatigue decreases, and confidence in your health grows day by day. If a symptom arises, address it immediately using the mental surgery techniques you have learned. Locate the area, cleanse, decree, restore. Thus, illness never gets the chance to flourish. Always remember the essential philosophy: health is your natural state. Disease is merely a signal that something must be corrected in the mind or energy. Do not fear the symptom. Thank it for the warning and respond with love and understanding. Conclude this chapter and this journey with a prayer of affirmation and gratitude. Eternal Father, thank you for the health that is my inheritance and my right. Today I watch over my body, my thoughts, my energy, and keep the door closed to all discord. My mind is a temple of light, my body an instrument of your perfection. I lack nothing, I have nothing in excess. Health is my nature. So it is, and so it shall be. Make prevention an art and vigilance a joy. When you care for the temple of your being with love and discipline, disease finds no dwelling, and life becomes a constant celebration of divine perfection. Here ends the path, and here begins your kingdom of conscious health.